From some supermax prisons holding on to some of the most dangerous criminals in the world, to prisons where solitary confinement is enforced 23 hours a day, here are the most protected prisons in the world.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is your host, American Eye. Now make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that like button, and ring that bell for notifications. Now let's get started.
Number 14. Louisiana State Penitentiary. This state prison also gets the nickname of Alcatraz of the South due to its rough past and harsh conditions. It also gets called Angola and the Farm due to its history. It formerly operated as a plantation, and once that was illegal, it became home to prison labor. It's found on the southeast border with Mississippi and first started housing inmates in 1835. Sometimes outsiders are allowed to come in and watch events such as rodeos and even football matches here, which has helped boost morale. It almost seems as though the rodeos are even more dangerous because these people have less to lose. This place also has a history of using the electric chair, as many older prisons in America do as well. The Angola 3 were the prisoners here who spent the longest period of solitary confinement in American history. Gruesome Gertie, though, has a special reputation and known for putting down a total of 87 men, some falsely accused and botched. Number 13. ADX Florence Supermax Facility. Also known as the Alcatraz of the Rockies, this 87-acre federal supermax prison is located in Colorado and houses some of the most dangerous prisoners that are deemed too high profile for maximum security facilities. Some notable prisoners include Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, and Timothy McVeigh. These high-profile criminals are really in here for their own security and would be likely killed by other inmates in different prisons. Other criminals here include leaders of the cartel, double agents guilty of passing information to China and the Soviet Union, and foreign terrorists. Many prisoners have complained about inhumane treatment by the guards and abuse of those who are mentally ill. Eventually, a lawsuit was filed in June of 2012 by several inmates, which changed the conditions. Number 12. La Sante Prison. Although prisons in Europe normally aren't too bad, this prison located in Paris, France has been described as a brutal place where many prisoners have taken their own lives. Once you're locked up here, you're only going to be able to get 4 hours a day outside your own cell. This place here has held some of France's most notable inmates, such as Castel SantAngelo, who's been described as one of the most notorious political terrorists of his time. This prison is set to open this year, while it's currently undergoing some renovations for its inhumane conditions. Number 11. The Red Onion State Prison. The Google car is a little afraid to get too close to the Red Onion, located in the state of Virginia. It's also known for housing the worst of the worst, and is certainly located in an isolated area. Inmates report severe boredom and depression as well as loneliness, where they can really think about what they've done for years. Most inmates are individually locked up as opposed to having a cellmate. Each time they leave their cell, the inmates here are strip searched and then placed in handcuffs and shackles. People in the booth are closely watching everything that happens and are heavily armed. We should also mention that they can only leave their cell for 1 hour each day. In 2012, a hunger strike broke out, with prisoners refusing to eat until abusive prison conditions ended. Whatever mental stability they once had seems to slowly melt away here. Number 10. Sing Sing. Despite it being a waterfront property on the Hudson River, Sing Sing is not a place you're going to want to go. It first opened in 1825 and remains to this day an intimidating prison in full use. It featured forced labor at a marble quarry and even the first women's-only prison. Don't be expecting a nice view from your cell, though. Found in the state of New York, the prison has gained some notoriety early on and continues to get a bad reputation. Sing Sing is a supermax facility offering close surveillance and various educational programs. The electric chair here is known as Old Sparky and hosted 614 electrocutions, including high-profile criminals such as Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, accused of espionage. There was also Gerhard Arthur Puff, charged with homicide of an FBI agent. It was also once the active residence of the infamous New York mobster Lucky Luciano. San Quentin Prison. This prison, established in 1852, is California's oldest prison. Although it's not currently being used, this is one of a few prisons in the US that actually has a gas chamber. All executions in California by law must occur at San Quentin. Violence appears to be an ongoing problem here, and doesn't seem like it'll be ending anytime soon. Some of the nation's most gruesome and diabolical serial killers spend the rest of their days rotting in captivity here. This includes murderers like Chester Turner, responsible for 15 women in the Los Angeles area, and Scott Peterson, convicted of killing his pregnant wife. San Quentin also houses a large number of gang inmates, as does most prisons in California, who don't get along while being confined. Number 8. Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. This United States military detention camp is located on seized land from Cuba during the Spanish-American War. It's also used as a naval base and has been under investigation for human rights violations. This photo here shows Camp Delta, which contains spotlights, a bunch of barbed wire, and guard towers. A separate facility at the naval base is used to store high-security detainees that were once held by the CIA. The location of that room is classified. From 2003 to 2006, the CIA utilized a part of Guantanamo which housed prisoners who they would try to recruit spies against Al-Qaeda. It would definitely not be an easy prison to escape from, and not a fun place to get stationed at, unless you like waterboarding. Number 7. Castel SantAngelo. Here's an older one to mix it up. You might be familiar with this prison if you've ever played some Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It was at one point the tallest building in Rome and was used as a mausoleum for Emperor Hadrian. This leader of Rome constructed many great structures in the Roman Empire and then passed away at his villa in Baiae. His ashes were placed here, but much looting of the mausoleum took place when the barbarians from the north sacked Rome. Eventually, in 410 AD, it was transformed into a military fortress and then eventually a castle for the popes. During the Renaissance period, it was utilized as a prison, holding notable people such as Giordano Bruno, who was executed for his philosophies and theories about cosmology. Number 6. Prison Belmarsh. Located in the southeast part of London, Prison Belmarsh has had many high-profile suspects such as the co-founder of Wikileaks, Julian Assange. It's classified as an adult male Category A prison and has been described as a British Guantanamo Bay. Many suspects are held here indefinitely without trial. It first opened 28 years ago and currently holds 910 people, including the guards. Some of Britain's most dangerous convicts are being held here, and they need to be carefully monitored in order to ensure that they don't escape. Number 5. Ayalon Prison, Israel. Located in Ramla, Israel, this prison was met with quite a bit of controversy when an Australian man named Ben Zygier was being kept here. He was accused by Mossad for sabotaging a top-secret operation to retrieve the bodies of Israeli soldiers in Lebanon. Nonetheless, it's considered to be one of the most secure prisons in Israel, with a total of 625 different cells, which are divided into 15 different wings. The rooms are built with the intention of preventing self-harm, and prisoners are given minimal privacy. It takes the design of a fortress with intimidating towers surrounding the walls. People who may have exposed secrets about Israeli operations might also end up here. Number 4. The Ophir Prison. Located in Israel, this prison is primarily used for incarcerating Palestinians, with a total of 1,250 prisoners being kept here. Some believe that it's getting overcrowded though, since it was mainly built for about 800 prisoners. The site was once home to a Jordanian military base that was abandoned in 1968, and then 20 years later, the site was transformed into a prison. There have been clashes with guards in the past, but it's unlikely they'll be able to completely subdue them. Number 3. Alcatraz. Many have attempted to leave the island of Alcatraz, but have also failed. Although it's no longer used as a prison, it's one of the most well-known in the United States. Many were shot or drowned in the San Francisco Bay. Alcatraz Island was originally built as a fortress, but later transformed into a military prison in 1868 and then a federal prison in 1963. In 1986, it became a National Historic Landmark and can be reached by a quick ferry ride. The lighthouse is one of the oldest built on the West Coast, and legendary escapes from the prison have turned into movies. Inmates Clarence and John Anglin, and also Frank Morris, made papier-mâché heads and then put them in their beds before they broke out of prison on June 11, 1962. They managed to leave the island on an inflatable raft. Where the inmates fled to is unsure. Some believe that they managed to flee to Brazil, but no physical evidence was supported. What do you believe? Number 2. Quentin Correctional Facility. Another supermax prison in New York, this one is located much further upstate, near the Canadian border. It's been given the nickname of New York Siberia due to the cold weather and isolation of the area. The staff includes 1,000 people or so and a capacity of 2,959 prisoners. The walls stand over 60 feet tall and it's known to house more of the insane convicts of New York as opposed to Sing Sing. The entire city of Dannemore, New York was on alert when it was declared that Richard Matt and David Sweat, both convicted of first-degree murder, escaped from the Clinton Correctional Facility. So how on earth were they able to get power tools in the prison? Joyce Mitchell, who you see in this photo, was accused of helping the two convicts. Just recently, she was denied parole for what she had done, which means that she'll serve prison for at least 2.5 years. And number 1. Qincheng Prison. Considered to be the most secure prison in China, if you speak out against the People's Republic, you might end up over here. Protesters of Tiananmen Square in 1983 certainly ended up at this Chinese supermax prison, as well as high-ranking officials that were accused of corruption. It was originally constructed for war criminals, and Russia had even helped out with some advice on how to build it. Prisoners here might be asked to do some hard labor, which seemed as a proper alternative to execution, which still happens as well. In fact, China has capital punishment, and they use it more often than any other country. However, in order to have communism not seem like a bad thing, they decided to reduce the number of political prisoner capital punishment.